Hello everyone and welcome to my Y&R Insider 24 update channel. Kyle and Sienna clash as Holden manipulates Claire. The Young and the Restless spoilers tease that Kyle Abbott and Sienna Bacall are about to enter each other's orbits in LA. There are several plots taking place on the West Coast at the moment. Let's dive into the red-hot merging plotlines going on. LA encompasses half of Genoa City. Holden Novak and Claire Newman took off to LA for business and pleasure. Claire needs time away from Kyle, but lo and behold, his answer was to follow her cross-country and give her a few flowers and a lot of guilt. Kyle is desperate to get Claire back, but she didn't like his ham-handed gesture. Despite Claire's explanations for why she is having fun with Holden rather than him, the man is clueless. Unsettling is Kyle's pushy way of behaving. Kyle told Holden and Claire that his meetings in Los Angeles will keep him there. What he is really up to is spying on his GF and her friend. Fans will be able to see Kyle witness an intense moment between Holden and Sienna during the week of October 20th to 24th. Next, he tries to warn Claire that Holden is spending time with another woman, but Claire has already met Sienna. Although Claire defends Holden, she may start to wonder if he's genuine. Kyle goes on alert status. When Kyle confronts Sienna, Sienna could tell Kyle to back off and break up instead of being chastised. In GC, Kyle is a legend, but in LA, he is nothing. We predict that steely Sienna will push back against Kyle's vociferousness and put him in his place. What happens next for Claire? Kyle is in LA to help Claire and dig up dirt on Holden and Audra Charles. But we think he'll get caught up in the Noah Newman drama going on at the same time. Red Hot The Young and the Restless spoilers hint that before all is said and done, Kyle and Sienna tangle in a way that no one saw coming. This is a developing plot, so stay tuned for updates and news on this scintillating mystery taking place away from GC. Catch up on everything that's going on with The Young and the Restless right now by watching it all again. Come back here often for the hottest Y&R updates, news, and spoilers. Get comfortable and gain access to the best soap intel on the web. The Young and the Restless upcoming conflict between Kyle Abbott and Sienna Bacall in Los Angeles adds an explosive new chapter to the soap's ongoing theme of love, lies, and ambition. The plot, which is appropriately titled Kyle and Sienna Clash as Holden Manipulates Claire, encapsulates the essence of a power struggle disguised as a romantic entanglement. It also combines emotional tension with underlying schemes that rethink the dynamics that exist between the show's established Genoa City characters and its new West Coast players. Half of Genoa City has temporarily migrated to Los Angeles, creating a rich crossover of motives and personalities that heighten every encounter. Kyle Abbott, a character who has often been portrayed as passionate but impulsive, takes center stage in this emotional tug-of-war as he follows Claire Newman across the country, driven by a toxic blend of love, jealousy, and desperation. His actions reveal a man teetering between heartache and obsession, unable to accept that Claire's attention has drifted toward Holden Novak, a man whose charm conceals a more manipulative nature than anyone initially suspects. The decision to move this storyline to Los Angeles serves not only as a literal change of scenery but also as a symbolic shift, a place where loyalties are tested, masks are dropped, and ambition thrives in a world of glamour and deceit. Kyle's decision to follow Claire under the guise of business meetings in Los Angeles exposes his vulnerability and growing insecurity. His gesture, showing up uninvited with flowers and a heavy dose of guilt, is classic Kyle, well-intentioned but misguided. Rather than rekindling affection, it underscores his inability to respect boundaries, pushing Claire further into Holden's orbit. The show cleverly paints Kyle as both a victim and a culprit. His obsessive behavior is unsettling, yet it stems from genuine confusion and emotional pain. He is watching the woman he loves drift away, but his methods of winning her back only deepen the rift. Claire's motives, on the other hand, are nuanced. Despite the fact that Holden's charisma and manipulation give the impression of freedom and excitement that Kyle's controlling demeanor has suffocated, her attraction to Holden may partly be a rebellion against Kyle's possessive tendencies. As Kyle's desire to save Claire transforms into something darker, a need to control the narrative and expose Holden's deceit, even if it means sacrificing his own dignity, the emotional landscape becomes increasingly complex. A straightforward romantic triangle is transformed into a volatile quadrangle when Sienna Bacall enters the fray. Sienna, a steely and assertive woman, represents everything Kyle cannot control. When he attempts to confront her about Holden's apparent flirtations, expecting to intimidate or guilt her into confession, Sienna responds with defiance and cunning. In Los Angeles, Kyle's Genoa City charm and status mean nothing. He is out of his depth in a city where alliances shift faster than the ocean tide. Sienna quickly establishes herself as a force to be reckoned with, using intellect and confidence to put Kyle in his place. Not only does she tell him to back off and butt out, but she also starts a new rivalry that blurs the line between dislike and attraction. As viewers, we can tell that Sienna has multiple motivations. She could be loyal to Holden, or she could be manipulating both men for her own purposes. The young and the restless writers know exactly how to take advantage of the intense chemistry that exists between Kyle and Sienna. What starts out as a fight quickly turns into a fight of wills, with emotional undertones suggesting that Kyle's rage might one day turn into a reluctant fascination, or even a forbidden desire. Holden Novak's role as the catalyst in all of this cannot be understated. Behind his charming exterior lies a calculating strategist who thrives on chaos. He is aware of Kyle's insecurities and cleverly uses them to his advantage, pushing Claire further into emotional confusion. To Holden, both Kyle and Sienna are pawns in his larger game, a web of manipulation designed to consolidate his influence and distract from his own hidden dealings. Claire, despite her intelligence, becomes entangled in Holden's manipulations, torn between believing his affection and questioning his sincerity after Kyle's warnings. The irony lies in Kyle's attempts to expose Holden's duplicity. His methods are so desperate and invasive that they make him appear unhinged, inadvertently driving Claire back toward the very man he's trying to save her from. This creates a deliciously tragic loop. Kyle's every effort to protect Claire only reinforces Holden's hold over her. The show thrives on these psychological reversals, where intentions and outcomes diverge in unexpected and heartbreaking ways. In the meantime, the young and the restless universe as a whole is full of interconnected subplots. In order to uncover information about Holden and Audra Charles, Kyle's mission in Los Angeles may involve him in Noah Newman's drama, resulting in additional entanglements. The show is able to weave emotional, professional, and family tensions into a single, explosive arc thanks to this cross-pollination of storylines. Los Angeles transforms into a narrative crucible as the city's seductive promise of rebirth amplifies each character's ambition and insecurity. For Kyle, it is a place of reckoning. He must decide whether to evolve beyond his impulsive tendencies or lose himself entirely to jealousy and pride. For Claire, it is a test of discernment, whether she can see through Holden's manipulation before it's too late. Sienna has the chance to dominate a high-stakes emotional game that could either make or break her. In addition, for Holden, it is the ideal setting for deception because every action conceals a deeper motive. As tensions mount, viewers are left on the edge of their seats, anticipating not only the inevitable confrontation but also the emotional fallout that will ripple through all of Genoa City and Los Angeles. Every character believes they are in control, but they are all being subtly steered by forces of emotion, ego, and manipulation, which is the beauty of this storyline. Kyle's transformation from a heartbroken lover to a man consumed by suspicion mirrors a classic soap opera descent, where love curdles into obsession and loyalty dissolves into paranoia. His clashes with Sienna may begin as moral crusades, but the simmering chemistry between them suggests a possible shift, one that could alter alliances and ignite new passions. Meanwhile, Holden's manipulation of Claire serves as a mirror to Kyle's possessiveness, forcing her to confront her own patterns of attraction and self-worth. In this way, The Young and the Restless transforms a romantic entanglement into a psychological exploration of control, vulnerability, and the human need for validation. Ultimately, Kyle and Sienna clash as Holden manipulates Claire represents the young and the restless at its finest, balancing emotional depth with strategic intrigue. It's not just about who gets married, it's also about how far people will go to keep love, power, and pride. The setting of Los Angeles, which is full of opportunities and danger, raises the stakes, making every interaction a test of character and every confession a possibility of betrayal. As Kyle and Sienna's feud heats up and Holden's manipulation deepens, Claire's eventual awakening may come at a devastating cost. Will Kyle redeem himself through self-awareness, or will his obsession drive him further from the truth? Will Sienna reveal Holden's schemes or cooperate with them? These questions linger like a storm on the horizon, ensuring that fans remain glued to their screens. This developing plotline reaffirms why The Young and the Restless continues to captivate audiences, one fiery confrontation at a time, with emotional volatility, clever twists, and high-stakes passion. Why is The Young and the Restless Kyle still in Los Angeles? Last week on The Young and the Restless, Kyle brought Claire flowers in LA on The Young and the Restless Image, CBS. Claire wasn't exactly thrilled to see Kyle when he showed up in Los Angeles and walked up to her hotel with a bouquet of flowers in his hand. She'd already told him that she needs time on her own before she can even consider committing to him. Because he doesn't respect Claire's desire for privacy and won't leave her alone, Kyle has been drawing a lot of criticism from fans. Despite all his flaws, we've got to give him some credit here. One thing he finally did right after all the grand gestures he's made recently, proposing to her and inviting her on a trip to Paris, is the flowers he chose for her. It's common for men to give roses to the women in their lives. But instead, Kyle chose to give Claire a vibrant, cheerful bouquet of what appeared to be multicolored daisies mixed with white ones. That choice felt fitting, since he views her as a bright light in his life and someone who overcame her dark past. He sees her as sweet, kind, innocent, and a positive influence on others, like his son Harrison, played by Redding Munsell. Keeping all that in mind, it feels like Kyle actually put some thought into choosing those particular flowers for Claire. They are symbolic of her personality and spirit, which are the qualities Kyle fell in love with. But now that he has seen her and talked to her, why is he staying in the same hotel as her in Los Angeles? He must be aware that might make her feel uneasy. Will Kyle assist Claire and accompany her if she goes to Noah? Will Kyle be a part of the story about Noah on The Young and the Restless in some way? Will Kyle accompany Claire when she eventually visits Nick and Sharon, who are also in Los Angeles, hoping and praying that their son Noah recovers from the car accident? Since Kyle wasn't in Genoa City to give her support when her father Cole died, maybe the writers are making up for it by having Kyle be present for her now, as her cousin Noah fights to stay alive. Additionally, it's possible that this will pave the way for Kyle and Claire to meet again in the future. Since Kyle is still in Los Angeles, all we know is that he needs to do something important. According to many fans, he can't just keep bothering and stalking Claire. We're talking about Kyle, even though he said he won't bother her anymore. It's possible that he can't help himself. And how long is he really staying in LA? He said a few days. But sometimes in Soapland, that's the equivalent of 3 or 4 weeks in real time. Is it possible that Kyle will continue to act like a depressed, wailing puppy around Claire for an additional month? Will Kyle use his time in LA to get dirt on Holden? Sienna and Holden seem to be arguing on The Young and the Restless Image, CBS. Kyle has been chomping at the bit to expose Holden as a player, a conman, or some other shady character. We still don't know for sure if Holden is any of those things, but we do know that the writers have done an excellent job of keeping him a mystery ever since he arrived in GC in January. A sneak peek of Holden and Sienna having an intense conversation was shown toward the end of Friday's episode of The Young and the Restless. Will Kyle be able to sneakily listen in on this conversation because soap characters frequently eavesdrop on private conversations? We suspect that Sienna and Holden were involved in Noah's accident somehow. Will Kyle be the one to find the answer to this huge mystery? And if he does, will he win points with Claire and bring himself closer to a reunion with her? The Young and the Restless fans' most pressing concern right now is a straightforward but complex one. Why is Kyle Abbott still in Los Angeles? What started out as a sincere, if a little misguided, romantic gesture has turned into a tangled web of obsession, guilt, and emotional tangles that are as messy as any soap opera could ever hope for. Kyle's arrival in LA, bouquet in hand and heart on his sleeve, was meant to be a sign of reconciliation, an olive branch after Claire Newman made it clear that she needed space. However, Claire was immediately aware that she was not prepared to meet him when he knocked on the door of her hotel room. Her cool, polite discomfort said everything that needed saying. She had set boundaries, stated her goals, and bravely prioritized her mental and emotional well-being, a sign of growth for a woman still recovering from her turbulent past. Kyle's unexpected presence, though wrapped in the innocent guise of romance, was a reminder of everything she's trying to escape. The pressure, the expectations, and the constant weight of someone else's emotional dependence. However, there are nuances to Kyle's persistence. Fans may call him clingy, tone-deaf, or emotionally tone-blind, but his choice of flowers, bright, multicolored daisies rather than the typical romantic roses, reveals a flicker of thoughtfulness buried under all the desperation. Daisies symbolize purity, innocence, and new beginnings, a reflection of how Kyle sees Claire, not as the haunted woman burdened by her past, but as someone who's fought through darkness and emerged with a quiet strength. Those daisies were more than just flowers to him. They were also a plea for a second chance, a sign of admiration, and an apology. However, irony is a staple of soap operas, and this one is no exception. The very gesture meant to show sensitivity became a trigger for Claire's discomfort. Kyle, in his desperation to be near her, failed to see that sometimes the most loving thing one can do is to step back and let the other person breathe. So, why is Kyle still in Los Angeles if Claire didn't welcome him warmly and his attempts at reconciliation only made her more uncomfortable? The answer, as always in Genoa City, and now the West Coast, is multidimensional. On the surface, Kyle claims his continued stay is business-related, a convenient excuse that allows him to orbit Claire without outright admitting that he's following her. But beneath that excuse lies a cocktail of emotions. Jealousy over Holden Novak, guilt over his past mistakes, and a compulsion to fix things even when his interference makes them worse. Kyle has always been a character whose heart outpaces his logic and who is driven by impulse. His decision to stay in LA reflects that same restless energy. He tells himself that he is there to make amends, but in reality, he is looking for meaning, redemption, and perhaps even a chance to rewrite the story that has gotten out of hand. As his personal drama and family ties become intertwined with tragedy, the situation becomes even murkier. With Nick and Sharon Newman already in Los Angeles, anxiously waiting for updates on their son Noah after his devastating car crash, the emotional stakes for everyone involved have skyrocketed. Claire's cousin Noah is fighting for his life, and the timing of Kyle's arrival couldn't be more complicated. As some fans speculate, it's possible that the writers are presenting Kyle's presence as a second chance for him to be with Claire in a way he wasn't when Cole Howard, Claire's father, passed away. If that is the case, Kyle is using it as a way to show that he can be supportive without being suffocating in a redemption arc. However, there is also the cynical possibility that Kyle's alleged support is merely an additional justification for remaining close to Claire, motivated by guilt and jealousy rather than genuine empathy. Either way, the setup provides fertile ground for emotional confrontation, forgiveness, and, inevitably, heartbreak. Kyle's lingering presence in Los Angeles also opens the door to other intertwining storylines, especially the mystery surrounding Holden Novak and Sienna Bacall. Holden, ever the enigma since his arrival in Genoa City, has managed to captivate Claire while simultaneously keeping everyone else on edge. Kyle instinctively recognizes that underneath his elegant demeanor lies a manipulative core. His intuition may be clouded by jealousy, but his suspicions aren't entirely unfounded. The audience, too, can feel that Holden's charm hides ulterior motives. The brief but intense exchange between Holden and Sienna, teased in Friday's episode, suggests deeper secrets at play, possibly connected to Noah's accident. Fans of the soap know that in this universe, coincidences are rare. If two characters are seen whispering vehemently in a hotel lobby, it almost always means that something scandalous is about to happen. Could Holden and Sienna be tied to Noah's crash? If this is the case, Kyle's unexpected stay in Los Angeles may mistakenly position him as the answer to that mystery. That brings us to one of the most tantalizing questions. Will Kyle resort to eavesdropping, spying, or manipulation to expose Holden? Given his track record, the answer is almost certainly yes. The Young and the Restless is a show that uses overheard conversations and coincidental events to its advantage, and Kyle's need for redemption may lead him in a morally ambiguous direction. If he catches wind of Holden's secret dealings or uncovers Sienna's role in Noah's accident, it could shift the balance of power dramatically. Not only could this win him back some favor in Claire's eyes, but it might also re-establish Kyle as a capable, proactive player rather than a lovesick ex. Yet, as history has shown, Kyle's impulsive need to save the day often comes with consequences. One wrong move, one misinterpreted conversation or premature accusation, and he could alienate Claire permanently. In essence, Kyle's continued stay in Los Angeles symbolizes his internal struggle between love and obsession, sincerity and self-sabotage. He's caught in a loop of trying to prove his worth, yet every act of persistence edges closer to intrusion. What makes this storyline compelling is that it taps into a very human flaw, the inability to let go when something feels unfinished. The story of Kyle is not just about a man chasing a woman. Rather, it is about a man trying to find closure and take control of a life that has been falling apart ever since his relationship with Claire started to break down. Kyle's emotional chaos is beautifully contrasted with the sunny Los Angeles setting, which gives the impression of paradise and reinvention. Kyle Abbott might just lose himself in pursuit of the one thing he can't seem to have: peace of mind in a city where dreams and delusions coexist, where every smiling face conceals a motive. It is evident that Kyle's storyline has only just begun to unfold. As fans speculate about his stay, his promise of a few days already seems hollow. Whether he ends up redeeming himself by uncovering the truth about Holden and Sienna, or spirals further into emotional turmoil, his time in LA will undoubtedly reshape not only his relationship with Claire but also his identity as a character. For now, Kyle remains in the City of Angels, a man haunted by love, driven by guilt, and propelled by a desperate need to matter. And as with all great young and the restless arcs, every bouquet, every eavesdropped conversation, and every emotional confrontation will push him closer to either redemption or ruin.